really think you could defeat me, wretched fool?
Hey there, and Hero here, something of a virtual YouTuber myself. Something seems different about me today. Maybe it's the haircut. Anyhow, today I'll show you what I could gather up for $69 within roughly a month's worth of time. Definitely, in my opinion, with more patience and time, you can definitely do better than what I did today. So let's start off with the CPU, since overall this is much easier to explain. I bring you the A10-7800, an AMD APU with 4 cores and 4 threads on the FM2 Plus socket. Launched July 31st, 2014. Clearly, it's an outdated and end-of-life APU at this point. As an APU, I believe it has 8 GPU cores of Radeon 7 graphics. Today, I won't be using the GPU portion of the APU. So with that said, the A10-7800 has a base clock of 3.5 GHz with a boost of 3.9. Not too bad, and can handle RAM up to 2133 MHz. But today, I have 8 gigs in dual channel at 1600. Due to the motherboard in this pre-built PC, I couldn't configure the CPU or RAM in BIOS. As for power consumption, it's not too bad, only sipping of 65 watt TDP, so a stock cooler should handle this just fine. So as for the GPU, the R9 350, as it kept coming up with multiple names such as the R9 M360, a mobile chip, or in some places as the R7 250 in another place. But it shows up in systems as the R9 350 more often than not, such as in GPU-Z, as it shows the R9 350, but when you look it up through GPU-Z, it brings up the R7 250. So looking at GPU-Z, it runs at 925 MHz with an 1125 for its memory clock. It has 512 text units, and luckily for it, it has at least 2 gigs of DDR5 VRAM. This particular card is an HP OEM version of the R9 350, so it doesn't look anything special, but did come out in 2015 and has OK I/O with 2 display ports and 1 DVI port. And like most GCN cards, AMD has dropped support, and today I will be using the legacy drivers. The Lenovo pre-built here is really the heart of the build, as it provides us with most of what we need for as little cost as possible. So basically, it's a lazy man's build. Upgrade the RAM, storage, and drop in a card. Unfortunately, it's one of those proprietary motherboards, so I couldn't upgrade the PSU and use a bigger GPU while staying within budget this time around. I could have used an HD 7770. Oh well, I'll look at that bad boy in the future. Alright, like always, we'll do the synthetics real fast. On Cinebench R23, the multi-score is 1643, and the single is 527. Moving on to 3D Mark, Firestrike gets 2,334, and Time Spy gets 721. PC Mark gets 2,767. It will stutter a bit at start, and every now and then the world will disappear, but eventually it smooths out with only the occasional stutter. Overall, it's still very playable. Even after a while, the world won't disappear on you, so it just needs some time to get its groove going on. I threw this in because I wanted to, because I want to confirm this could be played on something this low end. The 1% lows is usually from anything that isn't really gameplay, such as a story cutscene or anything like that. There are other options to play this, such as 1080p Fidelity FXCAS, as it performs better than FSR in this case, even with TAA on, so you can actually read the license plates. But unless you can handle the graphical glitches that surround the car, like how there are strips of texture surrounding the car that shows the ground rather than the road, I'd rather give this a pass unless you really want to play Forza. Maybe Nemes might fix this issue. Playable, yes. Competitive, no. The CPU here is the big bottleneck because this game is usually lightweight, which shows how weak overall this PC is. I used Monster Hunter Rise here instead of World, as I know that Rise is much easier to run than World. World is usually my God of War stand-in at the moment, as it was launched on the PS4 about the same year or so. Rise, on the other hand, is a much newer Switch title, and the Switch tends to be woefully underpowered, so if it can run on the Switch, it most definitely can run on the $69 PC. No, overall this is not a recommended build at all, as using these old AMD APUs are not worth it. I would recommend, however, using an Athlon 200GE on AM4, as low of an APU you can go, and the built-in GPU is honestly quite good, just have plenty of RAM for that. Overall, this was an interesting look at this hardware. You don't hear many talk about the old Kaveri APUs at this point, but I hear they overclock well. But with focus on being multi-core these days, even the 6 and 8 core FX CPUs are somewhat better options than this guy at this point. For the GPU, I would honestly love to check out its full potential, whatever you call this thing, the R9 350, R9 M360, or whatever you want to call it. This is a mobile chip slapped onto a PCB? That really does sound familiar. Strange. Anyway, like if you like, dislike if you didn't like it, or just hate me. Subscribe if you're masochistic to see more. I'm Anhero. See you next time.
Vámonos de fiesta factory, pero lleva mucho botiquín, porque mucha gente cae ahí. Ponte ahora tu mejor skin. Ven, vámonos de fiesta factory, pero llévate mucho botiquín, porque mucha gente cae.